This week, DeWalt shows up just about everywhere, sometimes in Mac Tools clothing.
Tim goes to SEMA, TRZ gets his hands on the new Ryobi Link system, and we figure out whatever the heck this thing is.
This is your Power Tool Week in Review.
This episode is brought to you by Ego, Power Beyond Belief, and Spyder, Pro-Powered Tools.
Welcome back, Power Tool fans. I'm Rob.
And I'm Sarah. We have several great new videos for you to enjoy, starting with Philly Fixed, where Jim... Do I have to say this?
Just read it.
Where Jim, Bad Taste and Jigsaw's Davis grabbed the all-new DeWalt DCF 840, which has largely been left in the ironically smaller shadow of its new Atomic DCF 850. Jim was pretty confident that the 840 couldn't roll with the flagships from Milwaukee and Flex, but thought it was worth knowing just how close it was. And in several tests, yeah, it did pretty well, making the value proposition something worth paying attention to. If size is the biggest concern for your own application, the 850 is still a ridiculously overpowered, pint-sized wonder. But if you have room for a bit more muscle, the 840 may actually make sense for you. Jim's tool tests have become more and more polished and easy to follow. If you want the full story, Jim has it over at Philly Fixed.
DeWalt sent a sample of the new DeWalt Power Stack battery to just about everyone at this point, except for Jim, of course.
Hey, be nice. Well, besides, I'm mailing him ours.
Wait, you what?
Is there a problem with that?
No, ma'am. Anyways, Brian, like a lot of us, wanted to know if this new battery tech, the lithium-ion pouch, is the future or a fad. And the logical way to prove it would be to carefully test it against their own 2 amp hour battery, which Brian did, but he took it a step further and tested it against an XR 5.0 amp hour battery as well, which has a 2P configuration, or 2 rows of cells, and the new Power Stack actually outperformed it. So what does that mean?
And if that doesn't get you excited for the future of battery power tools, you're dead inside. Plain as that. I mean, this little tiny battery kicked this bigger one's butt.
I couldn't have said it better. The reason this really gets me excited is because we have yet to see what these new lithium-ion pouch batteries will do when you power stack a ton of them together and start replacing FlexVolt. Yes, please. For the full testing and Brian's insight, head over to Workshop Addict.
Our last DeWalt story is actually a Mac tool story. Or kind of both. Here's the thing, both DeWalt and Mac Tools are owned by Stanley Black & Decker. So the trio at Torque Test Channel wanted to find out once and for all if the ultra-expensive Mac Tool impact wrenches are worthy of the coin, or just, as they put it, DeWalt tools and fancy red tracksuits. Mac tools, which are traditionally sold off of tool trucks, have a reputation for being serious tools for pros, but that translates into a substantial cost premium. But are these just DeWalt tools? I mean, they literally use DeWalt batteries. They're owned by the same company. How different can they be? Those are the questions the Trinity of Torque set out to answer. They chose to run the DeWalt DCF 899 against a Mac Tools BWP 152 and a DeWalt DCF 894 versus a Mac Tools MCF 894, giving them each a DeWalt XR 5 amp hour battery with 21700 cells to give them each their best shot. But remember, while they claim similar stats and look identical, the DeWalts are significantly cheaper. So how do they do? That's a question worth answering over on the Torque Test Channel.
Last week, Ryobi announced their all-new modular storage system called Link. Besides a seriously clever set of stackable toolboxes, they also included a comprehensive wall organization system that, quite frankly, has us almost completely forgetting about Packout. And that's without seeing it in person yet. Fortunately for us, Clint from Tool Review Zone has seen it in person while on a factory tour of Ryobi's headquarters in South Carolina. Not only did he get to put his hands on the new Link system, but he got a full demonstration from the Ryobi team, who answered a ton of questions that we actually had about the system. The highlights include a brilliant new locking mechanism for the toolboxes that makes it easy and fast to securely lock onto another box simply by setting it directly on top. No sliding teeth into place like on our beloved Packout. The cases are IP65 rated, and Clint noted how solid they felt. The handle on the rolling toolbox actually comes off, to the joy of pickup owners everywhere, and that crate, which locks onto the stack or onto the wall just like Milwaukee's does, has a special trick up its sleeve. The thing can accept more toolboxes on top of it. And that's just the beginning. The modular wall system looks like a total stroke of genius. When you rotate their locking system onto the wall, it naturally creates this kind of angled French cleat system that easily accepts a wide range of accessories that are priced very aggressively. The last bike hook that I bought for my garage from Home Depot was a little over $20. The Ryobi version, almost half that. I'm really excited about the competition that Ryobi's bringing to the market with Link. For the full review and a satisfying few moments where Ryobi employees constantly correct Clint's pronunciation of their own name, head on over to Tool Review Zone.
A few weeks back, Tools and Stuff teased us with this amazing new addition to Makita's XGT line of 5-inch circular saws with more than a few unique features. The most notable was the ability for the right side of the plate to be removed and a reverse bevel that makes it possible to cut very close to a wall. It was the first time we've seen a saw like that, but today he found a competitor. That is a Hikoki, known as Metabo HPT here in the States, 36-volt 5-inch circular saw, and yeah, its plate comes off and the reverse bevel lets you saw against the wall. As it turns out, these saws are incredibly similar ergonomically, but while the Makita XGT tops out at 6,000 RPM, the new Hikoki hits a serious 7,000 RPM. RPM isn't everything, but in this case, it's a lot. I'm having trouble finding a 5-inch circular saw with the inverted miter in the States, so if you know of one, let me know in the comments. For now, we can all enjoy the review at Tools and Stuff.
So a little over a month ago, Tim Johnson over at Shop Tool Reviews showed us this huge honkin' monster. That's the Durafix brushless 1-inch jumbo impact wrench with saddlebag batteries and a heart of gold. That was our first exposure to Durafix tools, but last week Tim went to SEMA without us.
What the hell, Tim?
This selfish man went to SEMA, where he visited the Durafix booth and got to play with their 20-volt half-inch brushless impact wrench. Tim was immediately impressed with its ultra-compact size, a huge 590 foot-pounds of nut-busting torque, claimed nut-busting torque. There's really no way of knowing how powerful it is until, Tim gets it back to his shop and tests it, or TTC does the same. But if the numbers are good, this little impact looks promising. It features a torque meter that keeps you from over-tightening bolts, which is always a welcome feature, and maybe the best part is the price. In a kit with a single 2 amp-hour battery and charger, it's only $179. For this and many more SEMA videos that neither Sarah or I are in at all, head over to Selfish Tool Reviews.
So Milwaukee announced 2 new nailers this week, which we featured here on Belts and Boxes, but they also sent out a second press release that didn't get that much attention. Why? Well, because on its face, it's not huge news. Specifically, Milwaukee announced a few updates to its OPE line, including some tool-only options for their 10-inch pull saw with quick lock, a hedge trimmer now in both 24 and 18-inch sizes, and their chainsaw will now be available with a 14-inch bar along with the 16-inch like we already have. So why is this newsworthy? Well, because of this line in their press release. These additions to our growing lineup of outdoor power equipment show Milwaukee's commitment to driving unrivaled performance and productivity to professional trades through innovative solutions and groundbreaking developments. We already know an M18 mower is coming that is directly aimed at professional landscapers. And if Milwaukee is still expanding their line, what's next? I think it would make sense to assume that Milwaukee is taking a direct swing at Ego, which would make sense considering Ego is now only available at Lowe's, leaving a serious performance gap at Home Depot. And Milwaukee, if committed, could do a fantastic job in filling it in. So what do you think? Is Milwaukee rushing full speed into pro-level OPE? And if so, how far do you think they'll go? Let me know in the comments.
We all know by this point that Makita stuff doesn't come out first in the States, like ever. And that's fine, as long as the good stuff gets here eventually. So to get a sneak peek at what the Teal Titan has coming down the line, we watch channels like Tools and Stuff and Scott Brown. But if you really want to find the weird stuff, you have to watch foreign channels on YouTube. That's where we found this official Makita video about their new AS001G air duster, which looks like a ton of fun to me. It's an XGT handheld blower and inflator. And with that 2-foot extension, there's no telling what kind of trouble I could get into. That video led me to this guy. This is Hadisha17, and he's my new favorite YouTube tool reviewer, mostly because I'm digging those glasses. I think he's speaking Japanese, but thanks to the auto closed captioning translation from YouTube, you can actually follow along with his review. He compares the duster to Makita's own shop blower and a similar Hikoki as well. I don't understand all of it, but I'm convinced we need this blower. Please, Makita. Special thanks to Ego and Spider for supporting us this week. Guys, if you appreciate these brands supporting our show and enabling Sarah and I to put this together each week, do us a favor. Seek out their social channels, find them in YouTube or Instagram, and tell them you appreciate them supporting the Belts and Boxes Power Tool community.
If you liked this episode, give it a thumbs up, and if you loved it, we hope that you subscribe.
All right, do something kind for someone else this weekend, and we'll see you next week.